July 2nd, 1937. Somewhere over the vast Pacific Ocean, a woman's voice crackles through the static. We must be on you but cannot see you. Gas is running low. Then silence. Amelia Earhart, the world's most famous female pilot, has vanished into the unknown. Her disappearance will become one of history's greatest mysteries. But before that final flight, there was a girl who refused to accept the world as it was. The girl who wouldn't be grounded. Amelia Mary Earhart was born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas. Her mother came from a wealthy, prominent family. Her father was a railroad lawyer struggling with alcoholism. Most girls of her era were being groomed for marriage and domesticity. Amelia was different. While other children played with dolls, she collected newspaper clippings about successful women in male-dominated fields: film directors, lawyers, engineers, advertising executives. She climbed trees, hunted rats with a rifle, played football with boys. Once she even built a homemade roller coaster in her backyard. After her first dramatic crash from that makeshift ride, she told her sister it felt just like flying. But childhood wasn't all adventure. Her family struggled financially as her father's drinking tore them apart. Amelia watched her mother's dependence on a man who couldn't provide stability. She made herself a promise right then and there. She would never rely on anyone else for her survival. She would be independent. She would be free. The moment everything changed. In 1918, Amelia worked as a nurse's aide in Toronto during World War I. She watched wounded soldiers return from the battlefields. She visited an airfield where pilots were training. Something stirred inside her, a calling she couldn't ignore. But the real moment came in December 1920 at a California air show. Her father paid $10 for a 10-minute plane ride. Just 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes would change her life and ultimately change history. As soon as we left the ground, I knew I myself had to fly, she later wrote. That moment of weightlessness, of breaking free from Earth's grip, of soaring above a world that tried to keep women grounded, it awakened something primal in her soul. Dreams require sacrifice, though. Flying lessons cost $1,000. A fortune in 1921. Amelia took any job she could find. She drove a gravel truck, worked as a photographer, taught English to immigrant children. Every dollar, every cent went toward those flying lessons with pioneer aviator Netta Snook. She cut her hair short like other female pilots, slept in her leather jacket for nights to make it look worn and authentic, ignored every voice that told her flying was too dangerous, too unladylike, too impossible for a woman. In 1923, Amelia Earhart became only the 16th woman in the world to receive a pilot's license. She bought her first plane, a bright yellow Kinner Airster biplane she named the Canary. On October 22, 1922, flying that yellow plane, she set her first world record. She reached an altitude of 14,000 feet, higher than any woman had ever flown before. The world wasn't ready to celebrate a woman who could touch the sky. Fame without merit. For years, Amelia struggled. She had to sell her beloved plane. She worked as a social worker in Boston, teaching immigrant women and children, while her own dreams seemed to slip away. Then came 1928, a phone call that would thrust her into the spotlight, though not in the way she wanted. Publisher George Putnam was looking for a woman to be the first female to cross the Atlantic by air. Not as a pilot, as a passenger. The role was symbolic, promotional. Many women would have jumped at the chance for fame. Amelia accepted. But she knew this wouldn't be the end. This would be the beginning. On June 17, 1928, Amelia crossed the Atlantic in a Fokker trimotor aircraft. She sat in the back while 2 male pilots controlled the plane. 20 hours and 40 minutes later, they landed in Wales. The world went wild. Newspapers called her Lady Lindy, comparing her to Charles Lindbergh. Parades were thrown. She became an instant celebrity. But Amelia felt like a fraud. "I was just baggage, like a sack of potatoes," she told reporters honestly. The praise felt hollow because she hadn't actually flown the plane. That honesty, that refusal to accept credit she didn't earn, only made people admire her more. But admiration wasn't enough for Amelia Earhart. She needed to prove herself, to herself, and to every woman watching. Flying solo into history. 4 years later, May 20th, 1932, Amelia Earhart takes off from Newfoundland in a single-engine Lockheed Vega. She's flying alone this time. For 15 hours, she battles the elements. Flames burst from a cracked manifold ring. Ice forms on her wings. Her altimeter fails. Storms rage around her in the darkness. Every muscle in her body screams for rest. Every rational thought begs her to turn back. She presses on. When she lands in Northern Ireland, she's made history, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. But more than that, she's flown it faster than any pilot, male or female, since Lindbergh. President Herbert Hoover presents her with the National Geographic Society's Gold Medal. Congress awards her the Distinguished Flying Cross, the first woman to receive such an honor. But Amelia doesn't stop there. January 1935, she becomes the first person, not just woman, but first person, to fly solo across the Pacific from Hawaii to California. Many considered it more dangerous than the Atlantic crossing. That same year, she flies non-stop from Mexico City to Newark. Another first. Record after record falls, each one proving that courage has no gender. More than a pilot. Beyond the cockpit, Amelia becomes a powerful voice for change. She counsels women on careers at Purdue University as a visiting faculty member. She helps form the 99s, an organization of female pilots that still exists today. She writes best-selling books and articles encouraging women to pursue their ambitions, to break free from societal expectations, to believe in their own capabilities. "Women must try to do things as men have tried," she writes. "When they fail, their failure must be but a challenge to others." Her personal life is equally revolutionary. When publisher George Putnam proposes marriage, she initially refuses. When she finally accepts, she hands him a letter on their wedding day outlining her terms. She will retain her independence. Her career will continue. If they're not happy after a year, they'll part ways amicably. She keeps her own name, her own bank account, her own freedom. Their marriage becomes a partnership of equals, decades before such arrangements are commonplace. The final flight, ring-tanked. Amelia announces her most ambitious dream yet. She wants to circumnavigate the globe at the equator, a 29,000-mile journey, longer than anyone has attempted before. She's 40 years old. Many say she's too old, too reckless, that she should settle down. Amelia has never listened to such voices before. She's not about to start. June 1st, 1937. Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan depart from Miami. For 33 days, the world follows their progress. South America to Africa, Africa to India, India to Southeast Asia. 22,000 miles completed. Only 7,000 remain. July 2nd, they take off from Lae, New Guinea, heading for tiny Howland Island in the middle of the Pacific, a strip of land so small it's almost impossible to find in the vast ocean. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca waits near Howland to guide them in with radio signals. But something goes wrong. The last transmission, 7:42 a.m., Amelia's voice comes through the radio. "We must be on you but cannot see you. Gas is running low. 8:43 a.m. We are running north and south. Her voice grows more strained with each transmission. Antiki, 8:44 a.m. We are running online, north and south. 8:45 a.m. Her final words. We are on the line 157, 337. We will repeat this message on 6,210 kilocycles. Wait, listening on 6,210 kilocycles. We are running north and south. Then silence. The radio operator on the Itasca keeps calling. Earhart, this is Itasca. What is your position? Nothing. Earhart, do you read? Static. Come in, Earhart. Only the empty hiss of radio waves. The search. The largest search and rescue operation in history launches immediately. For 16 days, ships and planes scour over 250,000 square miles of the Pacific Ocean. They find nothing, not a trace of the plane, not a piece of wreckage, not a sign of life. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan have simply vanished. The mystery haunts us for nearly 90 years. Did they crash into the ocean? Did they land on an uninhabited island and perish? Were they captured? Dozens of theories emerge. Expeditions continue to search. But the definitive answer remains elusive, lost somewhere in the endless blue of the Pacific. On January 5, 1939, Amelia Earhart is officially declared dead. The legacy that never dies, but her spirit never died. Her legacy soared higher than any altitude record she ever set. She proved that women could be pilots, adventurers, pioneers. She opened doors that had been locked for centuries. She inspired millions to look up at the sky and believe that they, too, could fly. Today, aviation schools, airports, and scholarships bear her name. Museums house her artifacts. Organizations continue her mission of empowering women in aviation and STEM fields. Little girls around the world learn her story and dare to dream bigger dreams. The 99's organization she helped found now has thousands of members across dozens of countries. Women fly commercial jets, military aircraft, spacecraft, careers that seemed impossible in Amelia's time. Each one of them flies in the path she cleared. Perhaps the mystery is fitting, because Amelia Earhart never belonged to easy answers or conventional endings. She belonged to the sky, to the unknown, to the brave frontier between what is and what could be. Amelia once wrote, "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. The fears are paper tigers. You can do anything you decide to do. You can act to change and control your life, and the procedure, the process, is its own reward." She lived those words every single day. Into the unknown. Somewhere over that vast Pacific Ocean on July 2, 1937, Amelia Earhart didn't just vanish. She became legend. She became inspiration. She became proof that when you chase the impossible with everything you have, you give others permission to do the same. Every woman who pilots a plane carries her legacy. Every person who refuses to accept limitations honors her memory. Every dreamer who looks at the impossible and says, "Watch me," channels her spirit. The sky never forgot her, and neither should we. She flew alone into the unknown and never returned. But in that final flight, she gave the world something it desperately needed. She showed us that the greatest adventures lie beyond our fears. That courage isn't the absence of doubt, it's flying forward despite it. That sometimes the journey matters more than the destination. Amelia Earhart's plane may be lost forever, but her message remains crystal clear, echoing across the decades to anyone brave enough to listen. The sky has no limits, neither do you. Neither.